All right, so we'll start from the beginning. Being a little after 7 o'clock, we're going to start the Halifax Conservation meeting. This is being recorded by Area 58 and can be viewed on YouTube. The first thing on our agenda is 266 Montponset Street, or 258 Home Street. And it's for a stormwater permit application. Okay.
I'll go through it. Yeah.
Yes.
Play the tape again. Good evening. My name is David Eastridge with Thorndike Development. We're here tonight for a stormwater management permit for 266 Montponset. Our proposal has a 30-unit building, 3 stories going on the property. The majority of the stormwater management system will be underneath the parking area with some other smaller areas towards Montponset Street. This proposal is consistent with a recent town meeting vote, allowing the zoning to be modified to allow such a project on this parcel, as well as the municipal development agreement that just got recently signed. So with that, I'll turn it over to Greg Driscoll of JDE Civil to talk about the stormwater management.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Greg Driscoll of JDE Civil, here representing Thorndike Development for 266 Montponset Street. Go through the plan set here. This is the locus map. You can see where the property is indicated here. Site is located on the western side of Montponset Street in Halifax. It's located in the residential zoning district. This is surrounded by residential uses and a commercial use to the north. This is a shopping plaza with Grow 58 restaurant in it, just north of the site, abutting the site. It's also within the newly created Senior Housing Overlay District, which allows multifamily housing for people over 55 to be developed on lots located entirely within the district. So the site is currently, was previously a beach farm. There was a single-family home on the lot that's been since razed. There's the remnants of the driveway located here. There's a couple wooded areas, but it's mostly an open field. And there are no wetland resource areas on the site, so yeah, like we said, we're here for a stormwater permit. And just kind of flip to the proposed layout plan. Just give you guys an overview of what we're proposing. So this is a proposed 30 units multi-family apartment building that we're proposing on the site, 4 stories. 3 stories, yeah, sorry. With full access entrance on the southern side, and exit on the northern side. Parking along the side and the back, garage building along here. The proposed, so this is the grading and utility plan. The proposed drainage system is a chamber system located underneath the parking lot. The septic system will be located in the back area here. So it's going to look like an open field of grass, but there'll be a perk-right septic system under there. We are collecting all our drainage and putting into the subsurface chamber system. For the most part, there's a high point on either side of the driveways, which these drain into fire retention areas to the south and the north of the driveways to treat the runoff before it leaves the site. The drainage design realizes reductions in peak rates for all storm events and meets TSS removal requirements and all the standards of the stormwater management standards. I can flip to the post-development area or drainage areas. So there's a portion of the site to the north. This was in the drainage calculations. There's a portion of the commercial site to the north that drains onto our property. A small portion that drains out towards Montponset Street. Majority of the site flows in this direction to the south and west. And we have design point 1, the south and west property line, and design point 2 is Montponset Street. proposed development. Same design points, south of our property line and 1 Ponce Street. And this shows the catchment areas that are draining overland. This field area will drain overland towards the golf course on the abutting property. The buildings, the pavement will all be treated into the chamber system, and the portions of the driveways that are, as it slopes down to the existing street, will be captured and sent into these bioretention areas next to the entrances. So that's kind of the overview of what the drainage system is designed to do. Any questions, or I assume?
One quick question for you though, because you said that there's no wetlands on the property. Was the parcel delineated recently? Do you know this?
There's no map. There is.
Yeah, there's no map. There is. When our wetland scientist went out there to flag the parcel across the street, he also inspected that, and basically, there's nothing to delineate, so he didn't give us a plan of anything. But he looked at that property for wetlands and found none.
Okay.
All right.
And how large is the property?
It is just something like an acre and a half.
1.52 acres, 1.53, something like that.
Yep. Yeah, 1.526.
If I'm being honest, because this is not my specialty. So
Right.
the peer review process is how we
Yes, absolutely.
understand if it's agreed upon, right?
Right.
And so that is what we would normally suggest, but is this the one that is suggesting that we use a specific peer reviewer, or is that a different?
This is the one that they were asking for Pat Brennan. Is that correct?
Yeah,
for the
I called
peer review.
earlier today just because usually the planning board, I'm not sure of the exact jurisdictions between the Concom and the planning board. Typically, the planning board will look at the stormwater management report, hire a peer reviewer, and that sort of thing. So I was trying to encourage the use of the same peer review person for each board. So I didn't make any suggestions. I was just hoping it would be the same person, so we wouldn't have to go through the process, twice for each board.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, is any of this, obviously it's mostly going to be contained on the property. You said something about some of it going towards the golf course, was it?
Yep. Currently flows in that direction now.
Yeah.
The whole parking lot and everything will be captured and treated as it's supposed to be, and then this portion of the site, the offsite, and then this area that'll be grass, and there's going to be a Perk-Rite septic system, which is the drip irrigation tubing, will flow in the same direction that it is now towards the golf course property. So this is the overland area that's not being captured. It's all vegetated. There's no paved areas that need to be treated. The paved areas that need to be treated are all contained and go into the catch basins and are treated with the stormwater system.
When it goes to the golf course, is there any houses around that area, or just heading towards the golf course? Is there a pond that's heading towards, or just?
That's the way that it flows currently.
Yeah.
This whole parcel just kind of grades in this direction.
Right now,
There is a single family.
Yeah, there's a single family home basically right here. So right now, it will actually reduce the amount of flow that goes to the single family home. It'll reduce the amount of flow that goes to the design point overall, but more of it'll go kind of this way.
So
towards the
when it's
golf
going
course.
that way, it won't go up. You said it's going to decrease it.
Yeah.
But would it increase it on the back end? Does the property reaches that back end without where the current water's going now?
I'll let you.
No, it's we're reducing the peak outflows for all the design storms by good amounts. Let's see. I mean, in the 100-year storms, we're reducing it more than half. The 2-year storm is very little coming out, and then we're showing 0 coming out on the proposed. And the 2 and the 10 are about half of what the existing runoff is. And similar to what's going to it, this small area going towards.
Yeah, it looks like everything's going to be caught, so there's none going to be heading towards the road, or affecting?
There's a small amount that heads towards the road currently.
Yeah,
This area right in here. So that's my North Boston Street is a design point, but we are pretty much capturing all of it up to. There's no outflow in this direction to design point 2 on Boston Street, except for the 100-year storm, and that's 0.01.
2 feet per second.
Yeah, so it's imperceptible, really. It's going to capture and handle what's going into these areas.
so unless it's a 100-year storm, it's not gonna go towards the road at all.
Correct, yeah, so we're reducing what's going towards the road.
You're reducing, you said, what's going toward the road now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what the peer review process is for, so. Do we want to take comments from the audience? How does that usually
Oh,
work?
absolutely, yeah. We have any more comments or anything?
Well, I just would,
We'll do this first, then we get
you
into
know,
some-
obviously like to see it peer reviewed. So, and I'm also a little weary about not using the person that we typically use as a conservation commission. So that's just something that I would like to share with the other members, just because we usually do stick with the same one, and I assume that's for a reason, but I haven't been here very long to really know what that reason
Did the
is.
did the planning board pick the person who they're using, or did you pick the person for both boards?
I called and just was asking to have the same person.
Yeah.
So we didn't pick anybody. And I got the comment that I think it's, is it Brendan Phaneuf or?
Brendan from the planning board, I think?
No,
Brenda, the
that you
person
usually
we
use
Yeah.
as a Concom, that he's more of a wetland scientist
Yeah.
so
than a
this would
civil
be a little
engineer.
different.
So this is something that's really specific to kind of civil engineering. So it may or may not, I don't know, it may or may not be in his wheelhouse, but it's typically not in the kind of the purview of a wetland scientist. It's, you really want a civil engineer who looks at hydrology and designs hydrology to peer review it. So I'm familiar with Amory Associates, and when Walter Amory used to own the place until he passed, and so they do civil engineering. So, but I didn't pick them. That's who they told me that they wanted to use. So.
Yeah.
That's who the planning board told you.
No.
It was, honestly, I'm not sure. I think I spoke with the administrator today for the planning board, but I just called and kind of
So you were
asked.
notified that that's who was being used?
I called, I was saying, I was trying to get the same person for each board, and they said, she put me on hold for a while, ran over to conservation, she said, and then came back and said, we'll put a note on the file for you guys this evening for Pat Brennan.
Okay, all right.
That's interesting.
Sorry, do you have a comment, somebody over here?
Yeah, you can,
Okay, state your name and,
Yeah, my name is Amy Troop from 10 Hillside Avenue. Number one, it sounds like steering just from my point of view, that you're going to come in here and say that you call the town administrator and you're going to declare who you want as an engineer, so I would steer clear of that if I were you. It has not been in front of the planning board, and I would actually have you look at the plans and see if the sidewalks are out in front of the property on the plan.
If the sidewalks are,
The sidewalks that are planned for the future.
and sidewalks, I don't know if
that's
that
not
would be.
No, it is
for
because
us.
it'll affect the stormwater management, because those are supposed to go in according to the plan that they will give us a senior center, which is not going to happen. There's sidewalks and pickleball courts and all this other stuff that are supposed to go along, so it should be planned for now, because if it's not, guess what, folks? We're a big problem when we're putting the sidewalks.
yeah, the peer review will definitely
But
look
you
into
have-
the stormwater
But if the
management
sidewalk,
with the sidewalks.
the sidewalk should be on that plan, Eddie. Are they? Do you want me to help you with that?
We'll get-
Yeah, we're showing a sidewalk
Yeah.
out along on Bosset and a crosswalk.
Are you putting those in?
So let me speak to that. So one, this is submitted just for 266 Montponset.
Yeah.
The pickleball courts, the senior center.
Across the street.
The other two buildings are all across the street. We'll be making a separate submittal for that parcel. That parcel, as you know, does have wetlands on it based on our process with the ORAD previously. So that's kind of a separate submittal. So absolutely, all the sidewalks that are shown on the plan will be installed on 266. And when we come back to you for 265, those will be shown there. We also submitted simultaneously to the planning board this same plan. So we submitted really on the same day. So we're on their agenda for next week.
Which we haven't even started to discuss yet.
Go ahead, yes.
William Alger, 340 Plymouth Street. Now, is it okay to your 100-year storm dump towards the golf course?
It's not dumping.
Well, you're going to dump water, you said your 100-year storm, the access is going to go towards the golf course.
Under the way that stormwater management works and stormwater design, the way we have to design sites is we study the site as it exists currently. That's what this plan shows, where the water flows currently.
Yep.
And then we have to design our proposed projects so that we can't exceed the amount of water coming off to those design points in the future developed
Right, well,
condition.
you have wall-to-wall, lot line to lot line, you have a building, you've got asphalt, you got another building,
Yep.
you got a septic system.
Yep. And we have a large, this is a chamber system for
Yeah, but
the,
is it going to handle that much water?
yes.
And the access is going to go where?
This is all going to infiltrate into the ground.
Right?
This area right here isn't going into the system, this is going overland.
Right. And that's okay, though, to go towards the golf course, though?
It does
To run
currently.
towards the golf course?
It does today, that's where it goes currently.
Where does it come from the golf course?
I know a lot of people that have the houses along in there that have trouble with their basements as it is.
Okay. And we're going to be reducing the amount of
Yeah, we'll be improving
runoff that goes in that direction.
I don't know how that's going to happen, but, okay.
That's my job.
So that, maybe you could describe that chamber system a little bit more, kind of like what that actually looks like, because it's hard to picture just from a plan view, so it's a little bit easier if you see some.
Well, the ground's only going to soak up so much water, and then you get ground.
But he's going to show you the chamber system.
Yeah, so it has a lot of volume underneath the parking lot, so it doesn't have to go into the ground instantly. Store it and it'll infiltrate over time.
So these are the rows of the chambers. This is what the chambers look like. They're all interconnected. The catch basins, they collect the water.
How many gallons? How much is in the tank?
Essentially, it's a large, you could call it a large tank, but they're
4 feet, 3 feet tall?
Oh, no, it's
How many
far,
gallons?
it's far larger than that. So, yeah,
I mean, your original plan, everything was across the street. All 3-story buildings were across the street, the original buildings.
that's going to be a separate submittal.
Yeah, but all 3 of those tall buildings, 3-story buildings, were across the street, the first plan.
Yeah.
So this is the plan view
Yep.
of the chamber system.
Yep.
So this is about 200 feet long and about 25 to 30 feet wide. So that's the footprint of that. And the whole system is about 4 feet deep. It's
Yeah.
got these, basically, if you've seen ADS drain pipe, kind of the black plastic stuff, similar to that, except it has just arches and then crushed stone filled all around it. So again, crushed stone isn't completely, it's, again, only has partial voids in it, if you will. But under the arches, that's completely void, and it has volume to store it, and the footprint of the thing is quite extensive.
So that's going to handle all that roof and all the parking lot.
Yep.
And we're gonna
It's
be
just
doing-
under,
Yeah.
just over 6,800 cubic feet.
And we're going to be putting this out to a peer review, so we'll have
Okay.
somebody else check it also. Yeah. Question for you on the catch basins.
Yeah.
And as far as maintenance of those, will that be part of the submittal for yearly?
Yeah, there's an operation maintenance plan included with the stormwater report.
Yeah, and I would probably have
What
to,
does it recommend, every year or every 6 months?
I believe
It's usually one or the other.
Yeah, it's,
but I'd probably want them to maybe touch base with the Halifax Conservation Commission when they do check them, just to keep us in the loop that they're being maintained.
Yeah, we had some problems on
Other projects.
projects and we had to force them to clean models.
One positive.
There's
about-
residents here.
Yeah, one positive about the scale of this is that there'll actually be a substantial budget associated with the condominium association and, you know, a group of trustees that'll run the show. And this will be, these permits are made part of the condominium docs that they're required, you know, as part of their fiduciary responsibility as trustees to follow.
You're not tying anything in with Grill 58's drainage.
Correct. We're actually taking some of their drainage or continuing to take some of their drainage onto our site.
Well, their drainage goes out back into the retention pond.
Not all of it.
Yeah, they have a retention pond back there, but there is a portion of their
Yeah, a little bit of that
property
one comes
that
on
comes on
us.
for it.
We're not changing that.
And there's an inspection log
Last.
that will have to be filled out. That's what could be submitted to you guys.
Okay. And I know as far as the peer review, I guess we could look into see if we can find anyone else, since you guys wanted to look into Pat Brennan.
I just want to look into how the process is to find such a big project, to find a proper
Yeah.
peer review,
Okay.
you know.
But it's, so is that right with
Separation.
you? We could continue this into next
Yeah.
meeting, and then
Yeah.
we can look into that in the meantime.
Sure. Again, whoever you want to use is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the director's room, if you pick somebody, I'm sure you could.
Yeah. I
Make a
just,
closet for 53G. And
yeah, it would just be nice if it was the same for planning and Concom. Yeah, if we can, I think previously we were able to kind of move that process forward, kind of offline, if you will. So if you choose the peer reviewer, you know, request a proposal, you get the proposal, let me know what it is, and we can, you know, fund the peer review account. And then, you know, they can do their stuff and we can schedule a hearing accordingly. So
Yeah, I
if
personally-
that can happen, great. Otherwise, we'll be glad to, you know, attend just to discuss that matter.
I personally don't mind having the same person do both, but I just want to see the process,
Yeah.
how we're picking that.
Right.
Sure.
Did you want to be put on the next agenda, and then we can cancel it if it's all set prior to that?
Yes, that'd be great.
There's another
Okay.
question.
Oh, go ahead.
I think you should do a lot of due diligence here because the rest of the town bylaws have been waived except for you guys, okay? So we're gonna have to look at like different things to make sure that the turning radiuses and everything are all fine, but we basically are hands tied. You guys are the frontliner to make sure that this 3-story building is, and by the way, I have a question also. How many bedrooms in this 30 apartment building?
To be determined.
So, well, your septic system should be designed for a certain amount of bedrooms. How many
Right.
septic, how
It'll be
many?
less than that. So we kind of maxed out our design of our leaching field.
How many
But again,
bedrooms did you max it
That's really
out
a
to?
matter for the Board of Health and the Planning Board rather than.
But that's a very
Conservation
important part of this entire thing because how many bedrooms are gonna be in that property? Is it gonna be 30 times 3? Because everything else is waived. You guys are the only defense that this town. Do you understand? This is a very serious undertaking that you have here. If he puts in 33 bedroom apartments, we have no say on that. Tell me now we have 90 bedrooms on a 1.5 acre property in the town of Halifax where you can only have, what, one house? So think about this really long and hard. I would have that flagged. You can't just take the word for it. You gotta get it flagged for wetlands. So don't spare them an expense. Have it flagged. Because you guys work for the town of Halifax residents. You should pick a different peer review because more eyes on this project, the better. Okay? I would not go with the same one that they want.
No, it's not what they want.
It's
No,
not-
it's just for,
Believe me.
it's not for what they want.
Eddie, he just said that he called the town administrator and the town.
Well, he called the town of Halifax, so he tried to,
Yeah.
he made the effort.
Who else am I gonna call?
Good, okay.
Yeah.
You're a frontline defense for our town. They put 33 bedrooms in there, and you know what that's gonna do to our schools? What about all the fact that all 4 wells are down right now? Do we have enough water? So you give them a carte blanche unless you really make them do your due diligence. That's the only part of the bylaw that we were able to save.
Okay, well,
Do you
we're not
understand?
gonna give them a carte blanche.
Well,
We're
I
gonna-
want you to be, as a Halifax resident, I'm asking you to make sure that you have it flagged
Okay,
for wetlands, please.
Yeah, and
And I
that-
would,
okay.
don't take their word for it, Kathy. We can't get our town back after this.
all right,
And you should look into engineers, and you should have another engineer on this, because two eyes might see two different things, and it should not be the same engineer for both, especially if they called and asked for it. It's called steering, and that's a red flag. Please,
Okay.
100%, you need to listen, because this is a very important thing.
okay, we.
If it was a 40B, it would have a thick 2.5-inch document that went through all of the boards, okay? All of them. That would take them a long time, and they were gonna have to build a water filtration system. They don't have to do that here. All of our wells are down. We're in really big trouble here. You need to make sure that we do everything we possibly can. Another engineer, and have it flagged. No expenses. They are gonna be able to make money off of this. Make them do the work
Okay.
before they ruin our town.
Okay, thank you. She did bring up one point, as far as the wetlands, it's like, I would like to see it delineated, unless it was already, and I don't think it was.
So there's nothing to delineate, according to our wetland scientists. So.
So you had
Okay,
wetland
we do
scientists look at it?
Yes, so I can have them
I
write
can
a
have,
memo to that
yeah,
effect.
and then we
just-
can have somebody do a peer review on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you want to have, you
If you
know,
could write up
do a
something on
sidewalk.
that.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
do a sidewalk to confirm.
And then we can just have somebody come out and just confirm it.
Sure.
And then we will look into as far as the, who to do the peer review for the stormwater management. And then we'll continue this to the next meeting, if that's okay with everybody.
Before we move
Yeah,
on, can I
no,
just
please.
say, I did appreciate Amy's point
Yeah.
with having a second peer reviewer.
Yeah.
And I think because of that it hasn't been redelineated, having the one that we typically have, who knows a lot about wetlands, might be a good one to start
Yes.
with. So.
They're going to present something to us, and actually probably have you come back to the next meeting so you can bring that with you for the delineation. And then we can definitely send that out to the peer review to Brandon.
Okay.
Anything else, anybody?
Can we make sure that we don't make any decisions outside of a meeting? This is a
Well-
hearing, and it's a public hearing, so we cannot make any decision. I don't want any decisions made on who's gonna be the engineer outside of a hearing. So when you guys
We
continue the
just had to-
hearing.
we just asked them to come back, so we will discuss it at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, so we will continue this to, the next meeting is March 26th, at 7 o'clock. Should I make a
Okay,
motion for
I'll put a
that?
motion to continue this for 7 o'clock on the 26th.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. We will see you in a couple weeks. The next thing, 705, is the Monpont Ponds Solitude Lake Management. They had an order of conditions extension request. Is anybody here for that?
Yes, Keith, Solitude Lake Management. So yes, we're essentially requesting extension of the current order of conditions for the management of invasive plants in both East and West Monpont. We don't anticipate any management. No management was done in 2023. The last time we managed invasive plants was 2022. But as a contingency to really kind of have the purpose and effect in the event that additional or maintenance management is required for the town, we're asking that the order be extended.
Did this come before Hanson also?
It will, yes.
It will.
Yes. Yep.
I would probably go for asking you to put a new application in. I don't know if you have any thoughts, or if you have any thoughts on it.
I don't have any thoughts on this.
Okay.
Would there be a reason for needing an another application? It's good. It would be the exact same program.
Did you have any?
I'm curious how long you're asking for it to be extended?
An additional 3 years.
3 years, you said. That does seem excessive to, as far as the plan with invasive plants and how quick things can change, and to extend that for 3 years does seem like quite a lot. So I understand what Kathy's saying.
Yeah. And if it's the same, you can just come before us. If it's going to be the same thing, just bring that forward to us.
Yeah, it was certainly an additional expense to the town if we have to refile, but that's fine if that's the prerogative of the commission.
All right, did anybody have any questions? Oh, did you? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, what if it's just, if you don't anticipate that it's a problem right now, and that's why you're wanting to extend the order of conditions, what if you just ask for a shorter extension instead of 3
Yeah, if
years?
you're willing to grant, I mean, we take whatever extension that the commission was willing to grant, yes.
And so that's sort of a compromise. If it's being, just let me help me understand why you're asking for the order of conditions again. Is it because you do not anticipate?
Well, no, we don't anticipate, but we don't anticipate any change to the management program. So therefore, rather keep it in place and the order valid in the event that conditions require management, then that would afford the town the ability to move forward with management without having to re-permit. So it expedites the process in terms of implementation, and two, it certainly avoids the additional expense to the town of having to refile the same notice.
Okay, all right, I understand.
Is there anything new that's come up over the years as far as managing?
No. So this was filed in 2021. So really, it's all the same techniques that we anticipate would be that are available and would be used in this particular instance are all incorporated into that filing from 2021.
Interesting, extending it like a year and a half.
That's what that's
Yeah.
my feeling on it.
18 months?
Maybe a
I'm
year?
very new here, as you know, but I think that just because of how quick things can change with invasive species, that extending it 3 years, it might not cover what we need. You know, we might need a new plan if things.
Yeah, I think we do
drastic
cut it in half,
time.
18 months extension.
Okay,
Until-
I feel better about that.
Yeah,
A year would be even better. No?
okay, yeah, that's,
A year?
A year would be better.
Yeah. Okay, how about we extend it till April 20th, 2025?
Very good.
Okay, make a motion. Did anybody have any questions in the audience? No, okay. Go ahead. Are you make the motion?
I'll make the motion to extend the order of conditions for 1 year to be, it's 4/20/2025, is that correct?
Yes.
I second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
good for a year.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. And we just have some discussions. 285 Home Street. Anybody here for that?
Is it 288 homes?
I
288.
guess it was, well, talk to Paige, you said it was, they had the,
Oh, correct address?
it was
Oh, okay.
285.
Okay.
It does say 288 there, though. No?
Yeah, I'm here for 2.
Oh, okay. And I apologize, I'm not sure, it was a complaint regarding stormwater runoff?
Yes, I'm the complainant.
Oh, okay. Is the owner of 285 Home Street here?
No clue, I guess you guys sent the letter to him, so clearly he didn't show.
Yes, and I have to be honest, I don't know.
Is that the place near the railroad tracks?
Correct.
Okay, I'm somewhat familiar with it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of runoff water going towards the street. They cut down a bunch of trees, which they got no permission to.
Yeah, approximately 2 acres.
Yep, which is probably causing a lot of this runoff.
Yeah, so basically what they did is they did a soil removal, they didn't have, didn't put a permit in, or actually didn't even apply for a stormwater management plan or permit. Removed almost 2 acres, a little bit over 2 acres of land, trees, graded it down, brought recycled materials back into the property, compacted it all, so I mean, it's all impervious, the water runoff's crazy. I mean, it's constantly flowing over the street.
And also, we're cutting down these trees that it kill privacy for neighbors or anything?
Yes, yeah, so, I mean, just going by the stormwater management plan, I mean,
Yeah, there's definitely
There's
gonna
more than one-
be, there's definitely gonna be one put in on this, yeah.
yeah, there's some issues here.
Was this put in front of another board or anything?
It's been in front of the planning board as well.
Oh, may I put you on the spot? Was this brought in front of the planning board recently?
Yes, at our last meeting.
Was the landlord there already, or the owner, renter? anybody?
It appeared to be like one of the owners that was with a lawyer.
The lawyer was there? Yeah, there should definitely be a water management, we should definitely enforce that, have them do that. Also replace the trees.
Yeah, so we'll have to,
Definitely get a, yeah, they did what they want, it seems like, so.
we'll send out another.
Especially if it was water running down the street, I think that's somewhat connected to the watershed almost in that area.
Yeah, so that's actually part of the Mont Ponce watershed.
Yes.
Their property's on the Mont Ponce watershed, and there's actually a high yield water aquifer in the corner of their property. They actually installed leaching basins that they provided their, whatever they got their calculations or whatever they did their plans for them. But Liddell themselves installed these leaching basins, and actually the leaching basins is installed in the high yield water aquifer, and I provided photographs to you guys showing that that's clearly not working because it's still, I mean, I got 14 pages of, I used Mass Mapper and found out the impervious areas and what's considered watershed, and I mean, it goes on and on and on. I mean, they're getting away with it, and it's just time to.
I think maybe another letter with,
No, certified, but they have to come up with some type of plan to,
yeah,
if they're doing anything with that property.
Yeah, so I know they brought a plan as far as the water runoff and stuff like that in front of the board.
Yeah, but they didn't in front of this board, or?
No, in front of they haven't been in front of.
Yeah, I know.
I've done my research.
Stormwater management usually falls under the conservation, so.
I mean, you can go into MPEDs, and you can go into MS4 regulations. I mean, they're in violation left and right. Soil removal without permits.
Is there anything we can do to
well, we can
Really
send a
enforce this, huh?
certified letter with fines.
That's what I was
Maybe
going to say.
Fines,
that's-
yeah,
That we
That way they get their
as soon as
attention.
possible.
Between 1 and 3 acres, I mean, it's a $700 fine plus the $25
Yeah.
a
permit.
day, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they're adding up. I mean, I don't want to get into the fines and adding all the stuff like that. I just want to be a good neighbor, but I'm
No.
trying to hold them accountable. I mean, we're all held accountable in the town
Right.
abide by the bylaws and take the permits and stuff like that, and that's what I've always done. So I mean, I just don't understand how they're getting away with it. I mean, they're working on vehicles on the property. They got vehicle storage out there, so what water is running off
Yeah, so
the
they-
vehicles and into the stormwater?
Yeah, it's going running off into,
Yeah,
watershed.
I mean, it's actually
yeah.
going above and beyond the drainage on Home Street and crossing over into the wetlands across the street. So, I mean,
Yeah,
there's serious issues, you know.
Yeah, definitely certified letter. It sounds like we're gonna start.
Can we start implementing fines before the certified letter, or do we
No,
have to
we
wait
have
until
to-
after
we have
that's
to do
proven
this.
that it's been received and then they didn't come before us? Okay, so then I would just.
Yeah, certified letter. as soon
That
as
would
possible.
ask them to come before us as soon as that's legally possible, so that we
Yeah.
can start implementing fines as soon as legally possible if they continue to ignore the requests of the board.
Sounds
Quick
like
question,
it.
who's gonna be doing the letter, because we don't have a
well,
office
I'll
assistant?
ask our town administrator, see if
Okay.
he can get somebody to write the letter.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Let's see. The next thing on here was 471 Monpont Street. Complaint regarding the trash appliance junk buildup on the property. Was anybody here for 471 Monpont? So that was before us, I think, before.
So we have to, do we know what was done before?
I don't know if anything was done. We could send a letter out to the owner because it's right on the water, I believe.
Don't remember correctly, it caught on fire last year.
Yes, yes. And there was something about the people who were gonna come help the person, but anyways, I think we gotta, send a letter out to him to come before us, because that needs to be cleaned up, because I don't know what's going into the water.
Since they've already been before us.
I don't know if they have, I don't know if they've
I think other people
Other
here
people
for them,
have-
it sounds like they're
yeah.
gonna help clean it up,
but
I don't think the owner's ever been here.
no, I don't think so either. Another letter?
Yeah, no certified letter. It sounds like the situation, they don't have much income or something, or we don't know.
But we just gotta,
Because if we start filing,
we'll send out a letter, see if they can come before us, see if we can get this taken care of. Yeah.
So they haven't come before us,
I do
so,
not believe they have.
so there's implementing fines for what they've done on the property, but then is there a smaller, lesser fine for just not coming before us?
I think maybe just we'll send a letter out this time just to see if we can get them to come before us.
And what is the consequence to them ignoring that letter? Because it seems like that happens frequently. So I'm just curious what the consequences are for just not coming in front of the board.
has the
when
Board of Health been
requested.
there to check out the area?
I believe so, we can check with them, but
Yeah, because the Board of Health, for health reasons, there's a lot of debris around the house or inside the home.
Okay. All right, so I would request that we look into what repercussions there are for not coming before the board when requested, and, so that we can notify them of that with the letter.
Yeah, let it be fine.
So, and then let them know that if they don't come before us, we will begin implementing those fines, if there are fines involved with not
If we
coming
can,
before us,
fine,
if
yeah.
we're allowed to do that, to speed up the process, because it seems like people typically just ignore the letters until the fines begin, so.
the next thing was 48 Elm Street, and that was just a resident complaint regarding work being done within 200 feet of a perennial stream. And I did ask that this be put on for the discussion only because I think it was Jeremy, you brought this up. When this was a single family house being constructed, and when it was brought before us on the plans, it said it was a pond.
Yeah.
But it is, I guess, not
If
a
it's a
pond.
stream, it's
a
different.
stream.
It depends. So this is where things get a little confusing. It's a river, okay?
Okay.
It's obviously, there's a former mill site there called Furnace Street, inactive, but then you have Furnace Street that creates a levee. But when you look it up on USGS, it identifies it as a perennial stream in the Sawtucket River Basin. If you look at the watershed that it drains, it's pretty massive. I mean, pretty much from Route 36 and what's that little town between south of Hanson there? It's kind of,
Plimpton?
I can never remember the name of it. Bryanttville.
Bryant.
So basically, Stump Brook, Snaky River, Sawtucket River, it's all the same thing, whatever. It's all the same watershed. It's a massive area. So one thing to look at in determining what a stream or a pond is what its drainage basin is. It's a pretty big drainage basin. You're talking about from Bryanttville, like the little sandwich shop there, Bryanttville Pizza, right there on Route 36. Just to the west of there, all of Burridge, all of Monpont and Halifax, north of 105, drains that way to Robbins Pond. So it's a very big drainage area. It's definitely a river because there's current flowing through it at all times, and especially right now. The River Protection Act basically says that the 200 feet between the high water mark is a resource area in itself. It's not a buffer zone. That's the resource area. So therefore, I think that project needs an NOI, an order of conditions, and I think that there should be a permit, a DEP permit out there because that's not just a small little thing. It's built in, what, a 4-bedroom house? You know.
Yeah, the thing is, it's already been approved, so I don't think there's anything.
No,
we can
it
do
hasn't
with
been
this.
approved by DEP, it's been approved by you, which was incorrect. It needs to go through the process, and if you guys want to pick and choose who has to follow the bylaws, that's your business. But let me make my statement, please. Everybody, there's a process that everybody has to go through, okay? And all I'm asking for is that the person who bought that lot should have researched it beforehand. So when Mr. Grady came in here and called it a pond and didn't want to go through with the NOI, why didn't he want to go through with the NOI? You know that's in a resource area. Even if it's considered a pond, it's 100 feet. You need an NOI. You need to submit that and the order of conditions to Mass DEP. That's how it works. You guys are supposed to be enforcing the Wetlands Protection Act, okay? So it's not that hard to go back and do your job. And I'm not saying tear it down. I'm saying he needs the proper permits. It is not fair to give people special conditions, take the cheap way out so nobody's notified. Just get the permits in place. Get some concessions on the buffer zone. That's all. That's where I'm trying to get the river herring back to Monpont. It has to come right past there. I'm not asking just to do the proper process.
And now that you brought it to our attention, I'm not saying with this project, but at least in future projects, if there's anything we can always send everything out for peer reviews.
You should have done this already. You should
We did,
do
but
it
we
now.
did, but we didn't.
Well, you should correct your mistakes. That's all I'm asking.
Can I just ask some questions here?
Yeah.
So if it came before us, no, I wasn't here yet, but if it came before this board incorrectly, and it said it was a pond, but that is not correct.
It's a river.
So
Or perennial
what is the
stream.
recourse there? Because if you approved it based on inaccurate information, then that shouldn't be valid. And we should be able to have it delineated and have it come before us correctly. If it was an administrative or clerical error or there was a problem when they came before us or before this board, there must be some recourse because it came before us incorrectly. If it was saying it was a pond and it is not a pond, which we would have to, I think, have it delineated, I assume, to know for sure.
Yeah.
But if there was that error, then there should be a way of correcting it. And reaching out to them and saying, we discovered there was an error. And
And you are here, right? You're here for,
Yes.
so I apologize for not talking to you before.
oh, I apologize, I didn't realize that you were the owner.
Are you the owners?
So I am the permit holder, and Tom is the owner of the property. Tom Sedell, my name is Nick Rasher. And I'm going to take some extreme exception to some implications you just made. One of which, if there were shortcuts taken or favors granted or anything like that, that was not the case, right?
That is correct. There were
We
no
followed the
favorites given.
procedure. We hired registered professional engineers. They submitted the documentation to this board, all right? You insinuate that we didn't do our due diligence. We absolutely did, all right? And so to imply or insinuate what you did is really not appropriate.
I think
Okay.
Jeremy was implying that this board didn't do its due
I heard it a
diligence.
different way.
Okay.
Sorry, I was actually saying kind of both ways, but the law is so complex, I wouldn't expect you to know the law. I'd expect you to hire an engineer and that engineer to know the wetlands laws. So
Sure.
I'm not saying that you didn't do that. I believe you did do that.
We did do that.
Right.
Okay, and money was spent.
Yes.
And we have a letter that was in the record that talks about why it was a pond. So it wasn't a USGS map stream according to people we hired. And we have a map here that doesn't show it. It listed as a pond. So there could be conflicting information in the world.
I agree.
That's possible, but nobody here did anything wrong. We came before, we did what we were expected to do, we were required to do, we received a permit, we've started construction, all right? So this is, I wouldn't have known about this in any way. We came in to give an as-built of the foundation today to the building inspector. And he said, you know, you have a problem. I said, well, what? He said, there's a Concom problem. I said, what do you mean? The house is exactly where it's supposed to be. We had the silt fence inspected. We followed the order of condition. We did what we were supposed to do. And he said, oh, no. There's a question about whether it's a stream or a pond. Well, so here we are. And I mean, if you're going to go back and redo, then you should look at every decision you've made for the past 15 years, okay? Maybe you want to start there, because certainly that's not unreasonable if you're going to do this one time, all right? This goes back to 2000, it's 4 years ago. And you say, you know, we get an NOI, what would change? The location of the foundation?
Well, I think that, no, I don't think you have to change it. I think the fact is, you did not have a DEP permit. There was no order of conditions sent to DEP, which is that anytime that you're doing work within a buffer zone or a resource area, everybody should have to go through the same process, which is you bring it in front of the Conservation Commission, either through an RDA, or if you already know it's a resource area, just go ahead with the NOI. I don't know why Grady did it as an RDA.
Did you know? Let me answer the question about timing. Did you know he did this? What is your knowledge of this whole process?
Well, one thing, I have been working with Brad Chase, Department of Marine Fisheries, on herring restoration through Stump Brook. That's going to come right up that river. So when I saw the house being, you know, everything being graded, and
You've referenced the history of how this came before you.
So there was a reason that there was just a lot sitting there for a long time.
Okay, hello?
And you see something change, you start questioning things.
Okay, so one thing, he came before us. He didn't have to do the NOI because the house was outside the 100-foot based on it,
I looked at the print.
based on it being
The
on
whole
the
property.
pond. It was outside the 100-foot, that's
Well, the house
why.
is-
And the whole intention of me bringing this today was just to say how we could be more diligent in the future as far as getting peer reviews. It wasn't to have you stop doing anything that we've already approved of. Now, if my other board members feel different, then we can discuss it, but this was already approved.
I feel like we need to know if that's a pond or a stream. So I'm just not sure how we find that out after the fact.
I think you
So I
should
need to
ask
know how
somebody
it's
like
financed.
Mass DEP, is this a pond or is this a stream? And honestly, it can change because with what we're hoping to do, I mean, that whole area may shrink and you may not have to get
The
you.
question is not whether it's a pond or stream now, all right? The question only was whether a pond or a stream when this was applied for. That's a different question, okay?
Right.
Because,
Understood.
and
And that is the question. Is it
Sure.
a pond or a stream?
Well, we have a guy-
Was it a pond or a stream
we
at
have a
that?
registered professional, all right, who says, Brad Holmes, professional wetland scientist, number 1464, says it's a pond.
And we
So there you
didn't have
go.
a peer review, so.
I've also talked to people working for
No,
Mass
that's
DEP. and they said
That's
it's-
why I'd
I'm
like to
sorry,
know.
excuse
I'd
me.
like to know now.
But, so
If we
that's why I'm
can-
saying in future,
Yeah.
we had, put everything out for peer review, so we can
Okay.
get the second opinion.
Could it have been presented to you in an incorrect way on purpose?
Excuse me?
I
It was
don't
just a
believe so.
question.
I
I don't
don't
think we
believe
need to get angry about that. I think it's a valid question if it could have been.
Well, the
It was just-
implication of that is
But it's if it
obnoxious.
could have been, because, okay, but not to you personally.
Were you
not
thinking
to
the
you
engineer
specifically.
did it?
What if that was to happen, right? And we didn't send it out for peer review. So Kathy has a very good point, and Amy has a good point here, which is if that did happen, not saying it did in your case.
And we're
If
just
it
saying in
did
general,
happen,
not you.
and it was not peer reviewed, how would we know? So Kathy has a very good point here that the process moving forward we should just make sure it goes to peer review.
Yeah.
Just in case, like somebody, in theory, not personally here, in theory, somebody could come before this board, they could be friends with somebody who makes it say something that they would like it to say. If we don't have it peer reviewed, we wouldn't know.
Well, let's stay on the case of this one because
Yeah.
they went through the proper procedures.
They
sounds
did.
like.
Okay.
And
I'm not implying that you didn't. I took Jeremy's question as this board didn't, and I kind of concur with Jeremy that we need to make sure, not that it was intentional, of course, but that we need to make sure that things like what Amy just said, like the what ifs,
These
don't
guys are professional
have it.
engineers, okay? If they do something like what's being implied,
They could be sued, right?
they could be sued. They
Yeah.
lose their license. They can't work anymore.
It happens all the time.
We've had people paved into the lake, so.
You know,
What contract?
It would be more
I
likely
think
to
it's
be the
really to go
state.
to a governing body and get this specific property, go to Mass DEP and say, I need somebody to tell me for a fact, is this not a stream or is it a pond? And then once that's determined, then, I mean, like I said, I'm not opposed to the house, but once you get that determined, then you move forward with what the resolutions are. Maybe an increased buffer zone, maybe it goes into a deed that you're gonna allow this much of stream bank to remain untouched. He still gets his house, he still gets his driveway, whatever else, man, everybody's happy. But it's just unfair that things seem to happen and they're not consistent. That's all I'm saying.
4 years ago.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything else to say on this discussion?
About this specific property, I would just say that I do like the idea of finding out if it is currently a stream or a pond, and then back to that date, if it was in fact a stream or a pond, because if the decision was based on incorrect information, there might be some recourse. It should be revisited if it's wrong.
Yeah,
It should be revisited.
I believe,
That's all.
it should be revisited to see what it is. If it is a river, we probably should try and put some stipulations, what you can, like the DEP, wetlands, you can't do anything on this part or that part. Like, there should be some
I
form
think
of
we need to
restrictions.
know. And so that's my suggestion.
But they did go through the proper steps. So
Right.
this individual property, I don't,
I would like to know so that we can
Okay.
just discuss it with that new information. And just as a board, discuss it, I mean, of course, you're welcome to come, it's a public hearing, but discuss with the new information what recourse could be taken, what options there are, how it happened that it was brought to us incorrectly or brought to this board incorrectly. That I would just like to know that, and we can't really go further without understanding if it's a stream or a pond, and was it a stream or a pond at the time. So that's my suggestion, is that I don't know if it's you, Kathy, or if it's that we don't have a secretary at the moment, who would be reaching out to Mass DEP, but I would like that to be determined.
see what it is. And obviously, if someone wants to build something similar to that area, well, obviously we have the correct information.
Right.
Okay.
But as far as,
And peer reviews also.
yeah, but as far as this property here, that's already been approved, I just don't know.
Yeah, legally.
I would like to put it
I
on a
guess we
future
should-
agenda once we have the information.
I think we can ask town council
So
about
we should
it.
just stop working?
But
I don't-
I'm not
they're in the
suggesting that.
process of,
Sure.
I don't.
I don't think so.
We need to find out quickly if it's a
If we-
pond or a stream, and if it's a stream, we need to, at our next meeting, discuss it again. So that's what I suggest.
I personally,
We have
Another.
go ahead.
Coordinators, I would suggest that Ms. Martin Plant reach out to DEP, get the answer, and then schedule another meeting for you guys as soon as you can. That way they're not held up. You get an answer back, they're gonna move forward, they've got plans, they got money, they got contractors lined up. So if you can get an answer and schedule a special meeting.
Okay, are we allowed to discuss this administratively between me and you about that and scheduling a meeting? Is that allowed between two people? It's not a
Yeah.
cure-all.
As long as it's not the
Yeah. that's
Yeah, as
it.
long as it's not 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so yes, I
So
don't
what-
see any problem with that.
What is your opinion?
No, yeah, find out if it's obviously if it's a stream or a pond, and I think we probably have to talk to council too, because they did get approval from the
They
town.
got
and
approval. I
everything.
don't see, I honestly don't see how we can tell you not to go forward with something that you came forward, that you went through the right channels.
So there are a number of universes now, with this channel being opened up, that you've opened the door to, okay, with this decision about this particular property, that involve the DEP stepping in and saying, well, it's this, and therefore you have to abide by the rules, which have very strong implications about what can be built on that. right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so you don't, that hasn't been stated, but let's state it, all right, right out there. That implies that the job stops.
We're not suggesting that at this point. We need to rediscuss it with the new information.
So you're not making a decision, all right?
Right.
Yeah, but
Without
continuing.
information.
You're saying continue at your own peril. Is that my understanding?
For you to continue at your own peril?
He's nodding his head, yes. even though-
I think that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean,
Continue at your own
honestly,
peril.
like-
That's the implication here, continue at your own peril. Our own peril after having it approved, going through the correct channels. Just need to be clear about this.
I would not be recommending any kind of penalties or fines based on
Well, I
that
say
it was.
our own peril in that the job may have to stop, may have to be moved. There could be a number of other consequences here, all right, that you're opening the door to, that have serious financial consequences. You need to be aware of that and what that implies for the town.
But if the information that it is a river, then, and you're doing the work now, not 4 years ago, because you got your approval 4 years ago. So if you did the information, all I'm saying is if the information changed and now that you're doing the work,
Yeah.
then the implication would be on the developer. It would be. It wouldn't be on the town. If the information that was presented wasn't, I'm not saying that you guys did it. I'm not saying
Are you a
that.
lawyer?
No.
You shouldn't have an opinion about this then, because I don't think that's the case. When you get a permit, all right, the conditions of the permit, so they change the building code, for example,
Yeah.
the time at which you got the permit is how the building code is applied going forward.
I understand that, but your
ICC
plans
thing-
show something that somebody is challenging that's there. You're saying that it says X, somebody else is saying that it's Y.
We have
and you-
a professional engineer who's
Okay.
put a stamp and
So I-
said this. So
I think right now we're just going to close this. We're not stopping you from doing anything. We're gonna, for our own information, we'll look into this as far as the river, but I don't see how we can stop you from going through with something that you have already gone through the proper channels and got the approval. We, though, as a board, we can call DEP to get their information. You know, for future reference, we can always talk with town council to see if there's anything we can do if something like this happens again. Or if there's something they feel that they can do with this particular property, then we'll contact you. But and I'm not an attorney, I don't know, but I can't see us asking you to stop because you went through the correct channels. Does anyone else have any?
No.
I
Okay, so we'll, so this discussion is, then we'll move on
we
to
do
the
have
next
another.
one. We do,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Jim Lonnie from Monte Street. I don't know anything about this project. I don't know what he's building.
Uh-huh.
But it sounds to me like what you're saying is you're going to let him continue to build and you don't intend to stop him. But down the road, if you find out otherwise than what you know now, you're going to stop him then.
No,
We're planning on doing this as soon as humanly possible and finding out the information and then having possibly a special meeting if it does turn out that it's different than what we believed it was at the time, because like Jeremy said, it can change. So if at the time when he came before this board, it was something different than what was brought to this board, then we need to have a meeting as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And so we will reach out and do that. But we're talking about days, hopefully. We're not talking about, weeks or months. We're going to do it as soon as possible. It's I think, the responsible thing to do and our only option at this point.
Yeah. So you're not going to let him continue to build and then 3 months from now find out something different and
If
then
we-
he has to stop?
No, we're not.
No.
It's not going to take that long. If we find out that at the time when they applied, it was something different than what they said, or what they were told, then we have to reconvene and discuss what to do from there. That's all. That's all we're doing.
So can you tell him now that he will be able to continue to build?
She just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know him, but I can see his position right now.
Right, he's already-
Walking out of here, the way I was hearing it, it looked like, okay,
No.
go ahead and build, and then 3 months from now, you gotta tear it
no,
down.
and you've already got the foundation in, so.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes, yeah.
so,
Yeah, I believe that, in my email that I sent, I said, we don't want somebody building a house not knowing, or buying a house not knowing that they actually violated a state law, you know, or a federal law or whatever, and then getting fined because you guys as a board don't know the law or didn't know the law. And the law is complicated regarding wetlands, river protection act, and all that stuff. I mean, my only suggestion was, usually when you're doing a new construction project within the 100-foot buffer to a pond, river, stream, anything, wetlands, needs to be a permit on file from DEP. All I'm asking you guys as a board is to get the facts. If it is in fact a river, then all you're asking for, and all the state would probably ask for, is a little bit of concessions with the buffer zone. That's all.
Okay.
We're talking about tearing down houses or anything like
Yeah,
that.
we'll talk about it
All right.
if it does turn
Okay.
out to be the case.
All right. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm gonna go on, the next one is.
Do you have, wait, real quick, you have contact information for him?
Oh, yeah.
Because,
If we needed to get hold of you,
So, yeah, I'm gonna write it down for you. How's it?
yeah, you write it down, dude, you don't want to speak over
I
the.
can write it. That's all right, sure. Give me more information.
Yeah.
This is the letter that was sent. It's probably fine right there.
thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for explaining your side of it.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah.
Have a nice evening.
You too. Thank you.
You want this right here? Want to keep this?
You have a copy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have copies.
Okay, yeah, we'll take it with us, yeah.
It's also a kind of, yes, now.
All right,
All right, thank you very much.
we'll put it with the road.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, the next thing on our discussion was Stop and Shop catch basins. They were cleaned and cleared on February 9th, 2024 by Can Partners, and they are going to now do them yearly, and they'll let us know when they are doing them. They'll keep us informed. Okay.
That's good to know.
Sounds good.
And then, let's see, under interoffice memos was the Board of Selectmen, the Alewife Restoration Committee member. They said at its meeting held on February 27th, the board unanimously voted to resurrect the existing Alewife Committee. Alewife Committee's primary function will be to restore the Alewife herring to the Montponset ponds. And then for...
Does Jeremy want to say anything to that, or?
It's just me right now.
Yeah, it's just you,
All
okay.
right.
Yeah, we'll get a committee together, and anything that I need to do, I will go through the proper process.
Okay, thank you. Bills to be approved, the Express newspaper for 265 Monpont Street. Anybody?
I've got a motion ready to approve the bills.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye. Do we have the
Do you have the bills over there? Are they in here somewhere? Let me see if I have them. Oh, let's see. That's the catch basin.
Okay, so the signature for the solitude lake management is if approved, the extension we need to
Hold
sign.
on, I'm still doing
Oh, I'm
the-
sorry.
We're still doing the
Oh,
bills.
okay.
I'd find them. Bills, I got it.
I don't see them.
Found them.
We could approve them and sign them, quite fun.
Yeah. We approve these with this one. Okay, can I have you sign this one? And, hi, how are you? Okay. Yeah, so the conditions, let's see, thank you. Just sign that one, Eddie. And then then the Monponset Pond Solitude Lake Management. Let's see.
I was going to say, Kathy, I don't think we should be signing it because we didn't approve it as written.
Well, I didn't see it. Has it been written? Do you know how it was written?
Oh, no, I just assumed it was for the 3 years. So maybe it isn't. Maybe we can fill in that date or cross it
I'm
out.
not sure. I haven't found it.
Okay.
Let's see.
Signature. That's
Signatures
the,
required.
that's 48, that information.
Signatures required. Yeah, so this is for the extension.
You could just put on top of it one year.
Authorization.
Just
Can we just exit out initially?
Well, it says his issue date was,
Yeah, we
February
just went
27th.
extended 1 year on it.
but I don't know what this is just the signature page.
So it's if approved.
So I guess I could write,
Yeah. Yeah, extended to 2/9/25.
we extended it to.
We extended it 1 year. So.
No, that was up here. It was on April.
It's 4/20 according to this.
We did, so it's gonna be 4/20/2025.
Okay.
So I'll write extended to 4/20/2025, 1 year. Okay, have you sign that one?
Here's that guy's information for 48.
Thank you. And you want to make a motion to adjourn?
Can I bring up one more thing first?
Sure.
The rules talking about policies and procedures seems like it gets bumped when we have a busy meeting, but then it doesn't get put back on when we don't have a busy
Right,
meeting.
so
So
we
how do
can-
we do that? How do we make
We
sure
can put it
that?
on the next meeting.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
on the next meeting.
Yeah, then we need a full board if we are.
We needed a full board. So we just need a full board as far as who's on it. So we just have to make sure that Kim
Kim's
is
here.
coming to the next meeting.
Do
But
we
can put it on.
absolutely need a full board? Because what
Well,
if
that's
she
what we
wasn't
figured it'd
planning
be
on
a
coming for a
good
long
idea to
time?
have the full board if we're going to be doing policy and procedures.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Anything else? Nope. Make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion that we adjourn for the evening.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.